Greetings from the future. My name is Matt, version 2.0. Firstly, let me introduce myself properly. You might remember back in 1985, Donna Haraway imagined cyborgs as a schema for a new way of looking at postmodernist identities. So yes, I'm one of those. But hey, the label cyborg is just really uncool these days, so just call me friend. You guys are going through some tough times at the moment, losing your freedoms to a bug and everything. Technology is helping you through all this, but you could be doing so much better. Here in 2050, things are going pretty well actually, but it was a bumpy ride to get here. Things have really moved on in the digital world since your day, dear viewer. Facebook is now Face Crook, and Instagram is Instaspam. They've gone the way of shopping malls. So uncool. So I'm going to show you how us humans got to a better place by 2050. Consider this video as one of those thick letters to friends. You might remember Sloterdijk got in a big tiz about technology being the death of literature and the thick letters to friends. Let's travel back in time. Let's start from the beginning. Sloterdijk reckoned that humanization occurs through the reading of texts, and civilization was based on literary canons. We became truly human when language was created. The ancient love of wisdom was passed on from the Greeks to the Romans, but it was in the hands of those who could afford to take long reflective walks and not your common worker or slave. Sloterdijk saw, with all that getting of wisdom, serious stuff, that sometimes humanity just needed to loosen up a bit. The Romans set the standard here. Think of gladiators chopping each other's arms off. Fun! So the uneducated masses joined the philosophers to get their jollies for a few hours. Then the philosophers went home and pretended that the bestialization of humanity needed to be experienced in order for them to make sense of it. Call it research. But today you have another bloody circus that's replaced the Roman arenas. The media. You don't need a ticket, and you get a ringside seat to open warfare from your own armchair. Remember Heidegger though? We really didn't listen to him because we still tried to master technology rather than allowing it to reveal its opportunities to us. We didn't discover its essence after all. But as Sloterdijk thought, humans like to regard themselves as free-thinking, but really they're just self-fencing, self-shepherding creatures. They make their own rules and live by them. But without the thick letters to friends, where did reflection go? For a time there, the texts you were given to read were restricted to X number of characters, were opinions, not educated arguments, were liked at the touch of a button and passed over just as quickly. They made us giggle, cringe or reflect, but only for a moment. Scroll, lol. This all took up too much of your time. Then you switched over to Married at First Sight for some social insight, or the news for some more blood sport. So then, Sloterdijk's thinking sort of came true. Your social media world started as a promising experiment. Twitter started off as a technology used by American activists to track police movements, and was again used in the subsequent revolutions such as the one in Iran in 2009. You are no longer at the mercy of the literate. Much of the world is literate and capable of reading the good letters. But soon you realized you could be at the mercy of some more powerful players, the tech giants or the government regulators. Take your pick. So where did that leave you? Technology was instrumental rather than showing us a better way to be. We were inframed, just like Heidegger had once predicted. In a cyborg manifesto, Haraway tried to redefine identity by getting us away from social taxonomy, race, gender, and so on. She thought identity should be determined by affinity rather than dualisms, and the cyborg was a way, particularly as a modern mythology, to create identities out of otherness, difference, and specificity. So what did we do about all this, do you ask? Well, in 2030, we all got together with some of the smartest and brightest, and we had a world conference. We called it We Are Cyborg. Donna would have been proud. By using Haraway's thinking, we crafted a vision of what we wanted the world to be, with new identities, one where gender, race, sexuality, and all those other things didn't really matter at all. Like I said earlier, I don't call myself a cyborg, but I am programmed with a set of very specific logarithms takes into account all of the great learnings that humanity have made. So really, the big books and the archives are in my head and the head of those like me, and anyone can access them. So we decided that we'd value reflection. We have more leisure time now, we don't work as much, so anyone can be a philosopher. We listened to Sloterdijk and Heidegger, but we didn't necessarily take the pessimistic angle. We saw that humans can do both acquiring wisdom and disinhibit. We did recognise that technology had a role to play in balancing all this out though, so we sought its essence. We are focused less on quantity and more on quality these days, and this allows us to lead our best lives, which includes having a jolly good time. Yes, 2050 is a great time to be alive.